So this was the week where we still don't have universal healthcare in the United States. In case you were just like in a fun little coma and came to. And if we thought that things were bad before the pandemic, my God, brace yourselves because the pandemic about to be officially over. So the Biden administration is weighing classifying COVID as like, a code not emergency, basically like declassifying it as a national emergency, an actual like pandemic.
So
And
is that like if you just kind of sit next to your neighbor's house on fire for long enough, it's not like an emergency anymore. It's just like that's what it is. His
I mean, as
house
long
burns
as
down.
you're watching the fire, like I got it.
It's
It's
like everybody's kind
there.
of used to the fire happening the way it is, right? So
Yeah.
it's not an
It's
emergency.
warm.
We're all kind of like, yeah.
But have you put out the fire?
Well, it's no one. It's just everyone knows it's going.
Okay.
So
But you
you
still
know,
haven't stopped the fire. It's still burning cuz all right. I that sounds awful and
technically, you're right. It's still going. Sure,
but I got it. I got
but
eyes on it.
I don't. Is your heart rate up because of it anymore? I don't think so. You
we've
could.
we've normalized the fire.
Did
And
they Golden Globes happen next to the fire? Yeah.
yeah.
Did a couple people get burned? Yeah. So it's
Uh,
not. Eh.
so this is because you look, it's not all on Biden. So there is, if you guys have not been following, this Congress has not agreed to fund more vaccine, either not forget research. They're not funding more vaccine distribution. So treatment is going to shift or could shift to commercial medical distribution as soon as this fall. Um Now,
Cool.
yeah, so that's fun. So again, his hands are a little bit tied, and because of that, the administration's kind of like, all right, well, we don't really have a huge choice in this. And also, COVID is incredibly unpopular. If you talk about it, it's like again, how dare you bring up the monster that's currently eating my foot off? Like that's fucked up of you. Um, Now, what does it mean that it's going to go commercial? So, just as a refresher, the federal government spent $30 billion incentivizing development for the COVID-19 vaccine, securing the purchase and distribution, and effectively making them temporarily free at the point of treatment.
There's just
But
two dudes in the front in the living room of a house party just punching everybody, and everybody's like, "Hey, you should somebody in your house punching people." Like, not in the kitchen. So
yeah, stop trying to like
we're
harsh
having
our
a party,
vibe though.
weirdo.
So, because of the lack of funding now, there is probably going to be a private market for it. And the the end of the federal vaccine buying regime and then inaction from Congress will lead to a commercial system that could be a cost barrier for uninsured and underinsured who have no guaranteed mechanism for receiving COVID-19 vaccines once federal supplies are depleted. So we're talking Moderna is thinking about $110 to $130 per vaccine. Now, if there wasn't already a barrier to getting vaccinated, which is just I don't want to go down to the Walgreens or CVS and I read some shit online or my friend sent me a fake news article. This will absolutely be a barrier to getting vaccinated. But I know some people are thinking, look, we spent that money as taxpayers. What the hell? Shouldn't we actually be able to own it, right? Like, how would we be charged for this, even if we don't have healthcare? Well,
No, but how would they make money?
exactly. Isn't 30
Like,
billion
you
enough?
got to think
30 billion though.
just that's. But like, I don't know if you know this, but like a yacht, like they're not what they used to be. Like they cost in the billions now. A yacht. So I don't know what
I
point
know
you guys
that
are.
tax write-off wasn't good enough. Like yes, they wrote off private planes in the Trump tax cuts, but yachts were not included.
What you
And
can write off a private
60
jet
million, 60 mil, Billy.
up to, or do you have to spend that much?
You have I I think it's I don't
Before I
know.
make
I
this
think you could get
purchase,
more, but
I
if you
don't
get
trust
2
you
of
to
them.
Huh? Now we're
Anyway,
talking.
so let's go. Okay, so I didn't know
I
this
do
about
want a
this.
jet. I'm sorry. I know it's hypocritical to the rest of me, but that part, I could do more
Not if
stuff.
you use
You know what
it.
I mean? I could do more
Yeah,
stuff.
not if you like if it's communally owned, I
They're
think it's
bad.
chill.
They're bad. I know they're bad,
No, they are
but
bad.
they're
So,
also awesome. So it sucks.
Billy, hang on one second because I have to bring into this piece of information because I know people are thinking $30 billion we invested. What the hell? Shouldn't it be ours? No. In fact, there was a 1980 law, the Bay-Dole Act. Remember, I believe this is of Bob Dole, RIP. Federal contractors are allowed to retain the intellectual property rights for inventions they develop with the help of federal funding. So they can actually now, however, the federal government can say, look, we have march-in rights. That's part of the law, which I love. It's just like you're busting in, like, hey, these are our rights. They have march-in rights to exercise partial control of those inventions, which some have argued could be a way to create price controls on the vaccine. So they wouldn't be $100 to $130. But Biden said in 2020, he doesn't embrace the use of march-in rights. So again, here we are. And I want to add one more thing to this fire, as we talked about. In April, millions of people are going to be kicked off of Medicaid if the pandemic is no longer classified as an emergency. Why? Because in order to get federal funding, states had to not agree to not kick people off their Medicaid. It's actually led to like 20 million people have been insured under that rule. And come April, if it's no longer an emergency, bye. Goodbye. So it all gets better eventually, right? Right?
Or does it? I mean, and I don't say this lightly, but it violent is what happens.
Say that again.
Like if they're going to take everyone's health care away, and they're going to, and it's going to come to a head, and it sounds like they're not handling it uh, in any kind of thoughtful manner, or any humane manner, I guess is the right word. That's not like rational people start doing irrational things when
What are you trying to say?
it's like we are talking about, like with inflation, and then you're going to take away their medicine or their access to medicine, and then you're going to do this. And then you're not going to allow them to make money on top of that because of all these different greedy factors coming together and not working together,
Yep.
but taking together. As I just like history, so I've studied it my whole life because my dad's a history teacher, so I didn't have a choice. I like it too. It doesn't bode well for the culmination of what's happening right now. Doesn't like it's not good.
It's well, what's amazing is that if the left ever did, or the majority of people ever did do something like January 6th, it would be for healthcare. Like, and it has been. I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
we saw when they tried to take away Obamacare, right? Folks with disabilities did massive sit-ins and die-ins in the Capitol, or in the halls of Congress, right? They think they were in the offices, and they were dragged out by Capitol Police. A lot of Capitol Police willing to put hands on people when it was disabled folks on Medicaid. Super easy. A little bit harder on January 6th. I'm not saying the Capitol Police officers, did not do their damnedest, but it's just funny who we saw them put hands on and who we saw them not put hands on. So it's just like, you're right. And like, we learned nothing is what I'm saying. So, maybe if we take George Santos out, the balance could shift, the House could go Democrat, and we could actually fund more responsiveness to this pandemic that still, we're talking 500 people a day still dying of COVID. And the most transmissible variant yet, which I'm like, what does that even mean? Now, if you literally walk by someone on the sidewalk, I'm always like, why are people, so distanced outside? This is so corny. And now you're like, oh no, maybe you could just catch it off of like petting someone's dog randomly or, coughing in the wrong direction. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.